You're listening to Texas Real Estate with Todd Tramonte, brought to you by the Patrick Glaros Mortgage Team, DP Lambert at Goose Insurance, and Stryker Roofing. And now your host, real estate broker, team leader, best-selling author, coach, consultant, and speaker, Todd Tramonte.
Welcome, folks. You are listening to Texas Real Estate, and I am Todd Tramonte. What happened to the summer real estate market? Where did it go? This is the fall real estate market. What does that mean? The summer real estate market is over. I'm sorry, your summer plans came and went. You did not buy, sell, or invest before school came back. Now what? What do they do, Ian?
What were people thinking?
What? You are grounded. Go to your room. We'll talk about, does that matter? And what's the difference between the summer market and the fall market? And are those just media labels or are they real? We'll talk about all those things as we get into it. Today, we'll take your questions. As you know, you can get those to us online at treradio.com. We've got a simplified and updated website there for you, treradio.com. You can also find us on social media and shoot us questions pretty much any way. Facebook's probably the best, at Todd Tramonte or at Texas Real Estate with Todd Tramonte. We'll take your questions today. We've already got quite a few piled up that have come in throughout the week. We help people buy and sell real estate all week long, every single day, with the Todd Tramonte home selling team and our brokerage market experts realty and our coaching and consulting clients all over North America. So there's a lot of questions that come in throughout the week. We'll save them up for you and answer them for you here to help you make the very best decisions for you and your family when it comes to buying and selling, of course, but also investing. And really, let me make this point very clear, for simply owning and enjoying or renting and enjoying your home. The show is for you if you are or you want to be a home owner or renter in the DFW area, really across Texas, primarily DFW, and you want to do that wisely. You want to do that well. We're here to answer your questions, and a lot of times we'll recommend some questions that you might not even know to ask. All right, so we've got a full studio today. We've got the one and only producer extraordinaire of all things audio, video, and social media oriented. We've got the one and only Young MG, the Mason Goss. He's got a microphone today. Hit it.
I'm here.
There he is. Very excited about it.
I also broke the first rule of radio, and that's don't leave dead air.
That's okay. Sometimes it creates suspense.
I was going to say, it's very suspenseful.
It's also a strong negotiation strategy that we train our agents on. Whoever speaks first typically loses. Silence can be really powerful. And not feeling the compulsion to fill dead air with information that you shouldn't be sharing.
Although if you do it again, Mason, there's a chance you will not have the microphone.
Yeah, it might be a 2-week penalty. You're listening to the English wonder himself, Yanni Donnie, Ian Daniels, and we'll ask him, as we always do, the question that you're all dying to hear an answer to. Ian, how English will you be today?
Yep, still feeling pretty English, Todd. Middlesbrough had our first preseason game of the year, 1-0 victory over Plymouth this past week.
For those that don't know, nil means nothing. That's
correct.
0, 1-0. That's a sport where 1-0 can actually still be exciting. I'm learning.
I'm very excited.
Plymouth is not a car brand either.
No.
True. It's a real city.
But it's not in
I'm
this
very
scenario.
excited to really bring the audience into the world of Middlesbrough and really grow the support that we have.
And in our Middlesbrough Minute today, I'd like to address the fact that it was like 12 minutes ago that the season ended. And now it's starting again.
Yeah, that was COVID.
It's sort of like a Little League soccer game. You go get some orange slices and get right back to it.
Yeah, normally it's a little bit of a longer break, but they had about 3 weeks this time.
Okay, well, listen, Middlesbrough's back up the borough, as they say, and we'll get back to the real estates, plural. If you got questions, make sure you send them in. But if you have not checked your property value in the last 30 days, typically I recommend you check your property value twice per year, once in the summer months, once in the winter months. But in a more volatile transitioning market, which this one is, I recommend that you do that at least every month, every 30 days or so. And you can do that for free on your cell phone, tablet, laptop, desktop, any sort of computer device. You can do that at valuethishouse.com. Totally free. And how long does it take, Ian?
Oh, less than 1 minute, Todd.
That's right.
About
That's
45 to 50 seconds, maybe.
Under 1 minute, find out what your house would sell for or rent for in the current market. Now, this is a relatively accurate number. It is automatic. So if you get it and it doesn't feel perfectly accurate, you'll know that because we give you a confidence score. So if that confidence score is below 90 or so, you can email back and just say, hey, would you guys do a custom valuation for me? Now, we'll follow up with an email or a call and say, okay, what's your situation? Tell me a little bit more about it. That's how we can get more accurate. But it is the most reliable automated valuation that I have found out there. You can do that in under 1 minute at valuethishouse.com. Don't trust Zillow. The Zestimate is not correct. If it is, it's by accident. And I simply say that not because I'm angry at them. I'm not. But it's just never accurate. So if you want an accurate automatic value on your house, go to valuethishouse.com. It's a local website we've built for local property valuations. It's much more accurate. And then if you want a custom valuation, just email back and say, hey, I'd like a custom valuation. And then we'll connect with you and get a little bit of information so that we can get you a very, very accurate
You do sound a little angry, though.
I'm not angry. It's just what's frustrating is when people come to us and they're like, yes, but Zillow said, and I'm like, Zillow's about as accurate as Carl down the road, who's also not a local real estate agent.
It was funny. I actually used the valuation as a part of my tax protest this year. I had an appraisal as well that absolutely backed up what I said. But I said I also help lead a real estate team where we have this tool, and I put my address in, I put all the information in, and it still came out at the same number that the tax appraisal was. So what you got, Collin County?
Right.
And they said we got nothing.
Said you are correct,
win.
sir. You are awarded 2 points. All right. We'll get into the questions here in about 5 seconds, but I want to point you in the direction of Patrick Glaros and his team over at Cardinal Financial, patrickglaros.com for all your mortgage needs.
Todd, are open houses worth it?
Yes. Next question. Let me follow that up. Just joking. They are worth it, but a lot of times they're not worth it. So how about that answer, right?
Explain yourself, sir.
When done correctly, an open house can be really powerful, but it's a very low likelihood of selling as an individual, selling your home at an open house ever, especially at a normal open house where you put 2 or 3 signs out and just kind of sit there and wait. On our team, we do strategic open houses. We don't always do an open house. It's not the number one tool in our marketing arsenal. It's not even the top 10, but it can be really effective when we create a marketing event out of it. And we use online, offline, radio, digital, physical mail, phone calls, and a local event to market a home with an open house type. I mean, it's not an open house, but it's kind of a open house on steroids, open house boosted. When that happens, we average about 10 times the national average number of people who attend an open house. And obviously we're increasing the odds of selling it. And we do sell some that way. But it's more of an intention getter. It's an accelerated feedback getter. And for a real estate company, it's a lead generator. I mean, all things being true, most agents do open houses to get buyers, not to sell the house. Most agents know that going in. Now, if they would adjust their strategy a little bit, they would have a higher likelihood of selling a house. I mean, we've sold quite a few homes in the last few years through open houses, but nowhere near as many as we've sold through other marketing channels. We've trained agents all over the country to do better open houses with our strategy, and they've sold a lot of houses that way. I have personally sold 1 house ever at an open house live, and statistically it's an anomaly, but it happened to be my own house, and it's almost a bad thing because it sounds like I did something different for myself, and I didn't.
Congratulations.
It just worked out. But we tell our sellers this, by the way. When we meet with the seller, we tell them we are not going to operate like a typical agent where we put flyers in their front yard, do an open house, and sit and wait. It doesn't work very well.
Well, the whole question came up this week because I was talking to somebody that was attempting to try and sell it by themselves, and they were specifically talking about the open houses that they've done, and they were asking questions about what do we do, and so that's how the question came up.
Well, it's ironic because someone usually in that situation, and I don't know about this conversation, so it's not specific to that, but normally it's like, well, we've been doing a lot of open houses, and we've had some people call off the signs like, how many open houses are you guys going to do? And it's like, time out. You just told me about your strategy, which did not work. And you're asking me if I will use the same strategy. The answer is no, but that's good news because it's not working. We will use a different strategy and it will work. And we'll guarantee that it works. And if you want more information, you can go to overunderagent.com. Anyway, kind of funny stuff. And I don't blame people for trying to sell their house by owner, by the way. It's usually because they've had a horrible experience with a real estate agent, which a lot of people have. I would just challenge or caution anyone who's thinking about doing that by owner. Talk with multiple agents. Talk with someone in your neighborhood, talk with someone and then talk with us and see if you see a different level of value or different level of systematic proven process, and see if you might come to the conclusion that doing it yourself is not a great idea. I think you will.
Yep, for sure. Question on inspection reports. So somebody wants to know what are the main things that you're looking for as a home buyer when you're coming to an inspection report? When you see that, like, what are the top things? Because there's 9,000 things normally in an inspection report.
So I'm going to give you an easy answer, and then I'm going to give you a more thorough, a better answer. The short answer is the big things we're looking for are roof, foundation, major electrical, major plumbing, and then like destructive things, right? So wood destroying insects, mold, something like that. But the big ones are roof, foundation, major electric, major plumbing. Structural being like foundation damage, right? But we talked about foundation. So structural is not always foundation, but that's the thing. So those are the big ones, right? Those are the ones that, like, I'll know it when I see it, or a specialist will know it when they see it, and we'll be able to put a value on it, and we'll know right away. But the fact is, all 9,000 of those things on the inspection report matter. Now, they're not all deal breakers. They're not all super expensive, but I might have none of the big majors, but so many of the little bitties that at some point that could actually kill a deal. Or it could point me to some knowledge that I might not otherwise have, that this homeowner hasn't taken care of this house. They've been here 19 years and just have not taken care of it. And any given day, an inspector is going to find some stuff and not find some stuff. It's just the way houses work. So it's all important, which is why it's important to have a real estate professional that can help you kind of decipher, discern, translate. It's not really translate, you know what I mean. Better understand the complexity of that report. But
in some ways it is translating, because
it really is, because there's weird language like WDI and GFCI and, WBFP and all these things that you a lot. By the way, part of the risk with an inspection is homeowners want to act like they know what these things mean because they don't want to look stupid, when in reality they ought to approach that and say, treat me like an idiot and explain this to me. And we don't treat people like an idiot, but we do say, hey, you may or may not know this, but let me explain it anyway. And it tends to be really helpful. So anyway.
Yeah, that's good. How does owner financing work?
Usually pretty badly.
Okay, great.
Is that what you were asking for?
Yeah.
I mean that. Usually that is not advantageous for the quote-unquote borrower. Now, there are some scenarios where creative financing like that can work out fantastically, especially on investments in commercial real estate. It's fairly rare in residential that that's going to be a great idea. Now, it can be. Let me state that very clearly. It can be a great option for everybody. But historically, owner financing has been something that really did not work out really well for the borrower, especially like rent to own. That transition never usually happens. But let me just answer the question, like, structurally, technically. Let's say you own a home, Ian, and I want to buy it.
Yep.
And you've said, hey, I'll finance it myself. So you don't need to go to a bank. You don't need to go to a mortgage company. You're saying something like, hey, rates right now are somewhere around 3. I'll do it myself. You don't really need to go qualify at a bank, but I'll do it at 5. And, I'm going to require a 10% down payment. So I'll do a 5% interest rate on a 30-year loan with 10% up front. Now, typically with owner financing, the restrictions on default are pretty distinctive. So you might say, look, if you get behind, there's a $500 penalty. And if you're more than 60 days behind, you've gone into default and lost the property. Now, you would still have to go through the legal process of foreclosure. By the way, foreclosure is a legal process. It's not like a one and done thing. It's like we have entered a legal process of me taking possession back. That's a whole nother question. But
right.
So owner financing basically just means the current owner acts like the bank and will let you make payments to them, and over time take ownership of the property. But that's where it can get hairy, right? So if I buy with a bank, the property's in my name, but I have a lien. I owe the bank. With owner financing, that's not always made very clear. And a lot of times the owner holds on to the lien. And then it's more of a rent to own lease option. And that's where sometimes these things are not clearly documented enough, and it can get really bad.
That's great. Second half of the show, we're going to talk about what feels like the awards season in the real estate industry right now. Real estate and mortgage industry.
That's a great way to say it.
The
it's
award
season. It's like time for the Oscars.
It is.
That's funny.
It's the teaser right there. We're going to talk about that later on. I had a number of questions about just our guarantee as a whole, kind of how that works, what that looks like. It's been a few weeks since we talked about it. Before we get into it, I want to remind everybody to go to valuethishouse.com, where you can find out what your home is worth or what it would rent for in less than 1 minute. Valuethishouse.com.
By the way, if you have no interest in valuing your property and you would just like to go look at houses and play online, or very seriously look at houses, you can look anytime, day or night, totally free, any house listed by any real estate agent in DFW area. And you can do that at mydfwmls.com. mydfwmls.com. MLS stands for Multiple Listing System. That's the system that all the realtors and brokers have access to. If you want a public version of that, that's free and you can search and save and favorite and goof off, whatever you want to do, just go to mydfwmls.com. mydfwmls.com. You don't have to worry about having a current property or anything. You can look at future properties. You can play and look at $20 million homes. You can look at investments. You can search Dallas, Fort Worth, anything in between. But it's a really functional site that's easy to use. mydfwmls.com.
If you have any questions, make sure you send them in to us too. Send them in to us at the radio show. Just go to treradio.com. And if you have a question, you can also go to tthst.tv. That's our YouTube channel, where you're going to find a ton of videos out there that Todd recorded with Mason behind the camera doing some phenomenal work, where we answer questions every single week. We carve out time every week where we really want to make sure that we're diving in deep on different things. We've got all sorts of different videos out there on things you can expect in different cities, how different parts of the real estate process works. It's a really, really great tool. tthst.tv.
I think that's, honestly, there's a tear running down my cheeks. I think it's the first time Ian has personally ever plugged the YouTube channel.
I'm really buying into it.
Yeah. Did you hear what he said? He said Mason does some really good work there. God, he's feeling very generous today.
It's impressive. And if you miss any clips or even the full show of the radio show, you can find it there also.
I'm just really buying into what we're doing, guys.
That's right. 5-6 years later.
Almost 5 years later. I'm in, fully in.
It really is a great resource if you're in between the shows and you have questions about real estate. You could search our YouTube channel and find almost every question that's ever been asked of us about real estate and a video answer of me explaining what we do, why we do it, how we do it, where to go, who you can help you with that, how to save money, how to negotiate more strategically, all those things.
And if you don't see the video answer, let us know and we'll be happy to record one so you can have a video answer.
That happens a lot. People will just comment below, hey, what would you do a video about this? And usually within a week or two, we'll do a video about it. So tthst.tv.
All right, talk about the guarantee, how it works, how we, come up with some of those numbers. You don't have to go crazy in depth, but it has been a question that's come up several times this past week on what actually is the guarantee, because people hear guarantees and see them all the time, and there's fine print and all this other stuff.
Well, let me start by saying what it's not, right? A lot of people have seen real estate agents with all sorts of ridiculous gimmicks, billboards, radio ads, postcards, wrapped vehicles, grocery cart advertisements, and that's really not our speed. That's not our attitude. That's not where our heart is in all this. But it is important to me that we set ourselves apart from the typical part-time, everyday, hey, I'm a neighbor, I'm a nice guy, I'll do my best, let's go do real estate, but I'm not really a professional. I'm not a full-time dedicated expert who's offering you really unique and differentiated value. If the most unique thing your neighbor or agent, can do is just be nicer or be more attractive or be closer to your house, if that's okay with you, that's fine. I don't think that's enough. I think this is a very important transaction. So for the last 17 plus years, we've been building and rebuilding and fine-tuning a system to deliver what we call world-class value, to guarantee to sell homes over the average price and under the average time, and to guarantee that we'll save home buyers at least $5,000 throughout their purchase process. Now, how do we stand behind that? How does that work? How do people, keep us to our word? I think that's kind of what you're asking here, or that's what people are asking. And there's answers to all those questions. But let me be clear, what we're not is a gimmick. What we're not is, hey, let's just get someone's attention and then go deliver something else. Or let's get the phone to ring, but then we don't really want to back that up. And so people have heard these outlandish sounding guarantees like, we will sell your house or we'll buy it. Now, we will do that, but that's not our primary marketing message, because that's usually not what the client really wants or what's best for the client most of the time. But there are scenarios where somebody says, look, make me an offer and then let's go see if we can beat it. And if we can't beat it, then I'll let you know when I want to take that offer, but I always have a backup. We will do that, but that's not our favorite thing to do, because our favorite thing to do is break all-time records for our clients. Our guarantee is, very specifically, that we will sell your house over the average price, meaning for more money than the comparable homes are selling for lately. More money than homes that are about the same size and about the same neighborhood, about the same time of year, have already sold for. We will beat those verifiable, documented numbers. You will get more money than most people are getting with homes like yours. And we will do that in under the average time. We will research homes like yours in the area selling the same time of year. What's the average days they spend on market before selling? And we will sell them faster than that. And we guarantee it. So what does that mean? If we cannot do that, you can fire us on the spot and you don't have to pay us anything. Or we can continue to move forward and close, and we will pay some of your closing costs, typically the title policy or something like that, which is usually, thousands of dollars or more, depending on the price of the house. It could be, $1,000 up to $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000, just depending on the price of the house. Or we will send you on a paid vacation, right? We'll say, hey, we did a good job, but we missed our ideal target. Everyone's still happy, but we'll send you guys on a 5-day vacation on us, and just enjoy it, relax. Everything's still great. Now, that almost never happens. Like in the last 3 or 4 years, I can only remember one time that one of those scenarios happened, and they were still really happy with us. They just said, hey, we didn't quite hit the goal. We still love you. We know you worked really hard, but what happens there? And we said, hey, we'll pay that closing cost for you. And they were like, great. We feel bad asking, but we really appreciate it, right? So that's how it works. We do exactly what we say we do. We sell homes over the average price. Right now we're averaging 5.6%, I think, is it?
5.7, 5.8,
5.7, 5.8% over the average price. And we're literally selling houses 10 times faster than the market average right now.
And that was over this pandemic time.
That was that was between late March and July, which was, literally COVID.
Right.
So normally we average about 8% over the average price and at least 4 times the average price. Right now we're averaging 10 times the average time. I'm sorry. About 6% over the average price and 10 times faster than the average time. If you're curious what our current numbers are, go to overunderagent.com or call our office, 214-310-0008. If you're thinking about selling or buying right now, go to overunderagent.com, 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 where you can call us or text us at 214-310-0008. That's 214-310-0008. We'll be back to talk about real estate agent award season. Woohoo! And what does it mean that the summer market is over and the fall market is here? We'll be back with more Texas Real Estate on WBAP.
Welcome back to Texas Real Estate with your host, real estate expert, team leader, and best-selling author, Todd Tramonte.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. We are talking all things residential real estate. And before the break, we talked about the end of the summer market. What do? It's gone. Long gone. This is the fall market. What the heck does that mean? I'll tell you what it means after I tell you a little bit about Stryker Roofing and Construction. If you haven't had someone on top of your roof in the last, I'd say 6 months, I would be talking with Stryker. But definitely if you haven't had someone out in the last year or two for any, normal reason, we've had enough high wind, rain, and hail that you just want to make sure your roof is in good shape. You don't want to get caught too late with a really, really costly roof repair. Now, if you know that you've had some high wind, heavy rain, and hail, then Stryker is the company that I trust and the company that you can trust. StrykerBuilds.com, BUILDS, StrykerBuilds.com for all your needs. They own an insurance company as well, so they fully understand the process of maybe using insurance, maybe not using insurance, and if you have a claim, how to make sure that you get really well taken care of. Stryker Builds, BUILDS, StrykerBuilds.com. Now, the summer market is in some ways tied to the actual summer season, the season of summer. In our market, I think we can, technically call summer pretty much June, July, and August. But it's also tied to seasonality that comes with the school year. It's tied to the attitude of buyers and sellers. But really the biggest pivot point is the start of school. We call that the fall semester. It may still be the season of summer. It's certainly still hot summer weather outside. But the season changes as the mindset of buyers and sellers change. So what has changed? Well, I'll tell you on some levels, and this is still true, probably won't be true for a whole lot longer, but it's still true that seller confidence dips a bit at the end of the summer market as they sort of start to think the thought, well, we didn't get it sold over summer. School has already started. Life is getting busy again. Now, we're in a COVID world right now, so things are a little different. But in a traditional world, sports are starting up. School zones are on. My drive to the office has changed, dropping the kids off, picking kids up. Travel is more restricted because we have the school calendar and all those things. That is usually an obvious transition from summer real estate market to fall real estate market. Now, a lot of those things are present this year, but a lot of them are not. And I think the transition will last a little bit longer. By now, pretty much everyone who has kids or is, near schools or anything knows school's pretty much started for everyone. Not everybody, but most. But it started virtual for almost everyone. Again, not everyone, but most. There's going to be sort of a second back to school when many of the children that are virtual are going to go to in-person school.
Actually go back to school.
Actually go physically into schools where the drop-offs and the pickups and the schedules and the work, homework and things are a little bit different. That will extend the back to school transition from summer real estate to fall real estate. Now,
Labor Day cannot come quick enough.
Well, and for a lot of people, they won't make that transition. They'll stay virtual. And I think there's at least, if not an expectation, some caution around if we go back to school, how long that might last, right?
For sure.
So the point is this back to school period is elongated this year. So the transition period is elongated. But the stereotypical summer market is a little bit more supply, more homes on the market, a little bit more demand, more buyers buying. Well, there was very low supply this summer and extraordinarily high demand. So we saw prices continue to rise in a highly active market. Now, I don't think all of that is going to change as we head into the fall market. But as we head into the fall market, sellers tend to be slightly less confident. And honestly, buyers have a bigger, better opportunity to buy from a slightly less confident seller. But total overall market activity tends to wane a little bit. It doesn't fully recover from the back to school transition. Also, simply the heat of just getting out and being in people's houses restricts that market a little bit. So we are in the fall market. We are in the fall market. This is fall for real estate. And what that means is a little bit better opportunity for buyers. And certainly not a bad opportunity for sellers at all. Still the all-time best time to sell a home in DFW ever, but not quite as strategically advantageous as June or July might have been. With interest rates as low as they are, we're going to see that market still be attractive, but we'll probably see overall market activity dip because of this back to school. I mean, we are seeing that, but we'll get the stats, in probably October and be able to look back. But we'll see overall activity stay a little bit lower after this back to school business. And then certainly once we get into cooler weather, the extremes of fall market will step up. We'll probably see inventory go even lower.
This past weekend alone, we helped 5 different families buy a new home.
Right. So that shows you that things have opened up a little bit for buyers, because even on our team where we have a lot of activity, 5 buyers in one weekend is a good weekend. Sellers, we've been running and gunning on, and we still are. We're not seeing our sellers' opportunities dip or wane at all. But market wide, we do see sellers with slightly lower confidence and slightly less of an extreme opportunity. So hopefully that helps communicate the point. We can take any questions on that we have. There's a lot of specifics rolled up into that.
Yeah, for sure. And I promise we're going to get into the real estate award season. I promise we are going to get into it in just a little bit. Make sure you go to valuethishouse.com where you can get your home valuation, see what it's worth, see what it would rent for in less than 1 minute. Valuethishouse.com. If you've not done that in the past couple of months, you absolutely need to go over there and see what it is. We always recommend in a normal market doing that twice a year. Once at the beginning, once in the middle, somewhere right around there. Right now, we're saying you probably need to keep an eye on it at least every month. So we'll send you updates on it, but valuethishouse.com. Question when it comes to new construction, and this is definitely kind of remaining on that buyer focus. We talked about inspection reports earlier, but somebody wants to know, is an inspection still necessary when it comes to new construction?
Yes, absolutely yes. An inspection is always necessary, period. New construction inspection reports are still 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes 10 pages long. The reality is houses are big. I mean, regardless of the size, relative to the world, houses are big, complicated structures. Plumbing, electrical, air heating, ventilation, air conditioning, structural. I mean, literally everything from cracked tile to faucet leaks to forgot to grout the seam to didn't fully fasten the toilet to the floor. I mean, all those little things, especially on new construction, are very important. On older homes, it's about how old is this? How damaged is this? On a new home, was it installed properly? But still damage and sometimes just poor workmanship, poor craftsmanship. So yes, absolutely still a home inspection is still very important on new construction, and a real estate agent is still very important on new construction as well.
Perfect. Home warranties, we talked about this a few weeks ago, but somebody again is just asking us, are they worth it? Right? We've talked a lot about how we'll negotiate to get a home warranty for each of our buyers for that first year that they're in a property.
Yep.
Is it, obviously we feel as though it's worth it for that first year. Is it worth it for somebody to continue that for years following?
So if you're a loyal WBAP listener, I hope you listen to Texas Home Improvement with Jim Dutton on Saturdays. He and I have had an ongoing argument about this for years. He is an unbelievably handy guy, right? He's a contractor. He owns a foundation company, plumbing company. So in his mind, they're not worth it. So I think it's fair to state that side of the argument. My side of the argument is that and I'm relatively handy. I'm certainly not a contractor, but because of so much real estate I've done, I've got a pretty good feel for things like that. I am still a big fan of almost every home buyer having a home warranty and continuing it at least for the first few years. Again, this depends on budget and your handiness, but we guarantee this for our home buyers. If someone's buying a house with us, I guarantee we will get you a home warranty paid for by the seller. And if for some reason we can't, I'll buy you one. That's how important I think it is. You just sleep a little bit easier at night, especially that first year, but first few years. If some of these rinky-dink things that might just pop up that are going to cost me $200 here, $300 here, $400 there, I just call a phone number and not have to worry about it. I typically pay like a $60 or $65 trip fee, and they just take care of the rest, and I don't have to worry about it. Our home warranty is going to solve the world's problems? No. Home warranty costs $400, $500, $600 a year. They're not going to come give you a $10,000 air conditioning unit. It doesn't make sense. That's not really what it's for. But that's why a lot of people complain about them. They never do anything. Well, for $500, what do you expect them to do? The reality is, if you buy a home and you have a rough year, Your $500 home warranty might have saved you $1,000. They might cover $1,500 or $2,000 worth of little piddly things, but you didn't have to worry about it. And you didn't have to find a reliable contractor. You just called them and they took care of it. Now, I believe in them so much, we have a home warranty put on every home we sell also. So while they're on the market, we have a home warranty put on that house. It doesn't cost our seller client anything. And then we offer that home warranty for a year to the buyer to reassure them, to help them know we're going to cover all this, but if we miss something, you're covered for another year. And our buyers then can be reassured and more confident to buy our sellers' homes.
Well, it really gives some comfort to the seller as well.
For sure. It protects the seller while it's on the market. So I could go into a lot more detail about that, but the reality is we believe in them so much, we get them for our sellers and we provide them for our buyers. And I just think they add peace of mind and dollar for dollar value. So I think they're a very good deal.
Yep. And if you want to learn some more about that, if you're thinking about buying a house, reach out to us. Just contact us over underagent.com. Mason, play it.
Nice.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, this is the awards season, folks. I am so excited. Mason, can you get me my tuxedo? I need to change.
Yes.
I need tuxedo for this part of the show.
Who will you be wearing this year?
Oh, my
Ian?
goodness. This is the season. I'm seeing so many people on my social media feed celebrating their awards, whether it's in real estate or mortgages. Todd, it's the season.
It's the season to celebrate your own awards. Now listen, this is not personal. This isn't about any one person or any one award, but it really is funny.
It is.
And look, we've won a lot of awards, and I appreciate every award we've been given and honored with and all those things. But I do feel the comedy of that phenomenal intro music, Mason. Once again, great work, Mason.
That's why we love you, Mason.
It really is comical. The number of I was voted best pediatric toenail clipper in Des Moines by Bob's Muffler Shops magazine for awesome professional.
Congratulations.
It's hilarious. The reality is many of these awards are, silly and kind of homemade and paid for by the award winner and all those things. They're fine. There's nothing wrong at all with choosing your dentist or your doctor or your real estate agent in part because of awards. I mean, we have some awards that are super legitimate awards that are really, really hard to win. And we have some of those silly ones where it's like, hey, someone nominated you. Would you like to pay to be in the magazine? And we're like, no, we don't want to pay in the magazine. And they send you the little 3x5 piece of paper. It's like, well, then you get this piece of junk. We win a lot of awards in Richardson. We've been in Richardson for a long time. We sold a lot of homes here. We're committed to a lot of the communities in North Texas. Same thing in Fort Worth, Keller, Southlake, Plano, Coppell, Wiley, Sax. I mean, these are cities we've worked in for years and years and years. And it's good. But what's funny to me is the awards that are clearly paid for.
Yep.
Right. So it's like,
and that's what we're seeing a lot of right now.
One of your clients nominated you, which is great, which means you did a good job. And then you spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to get the full page spread in the magazine so that you could post it and mail it. Now, on some level, that's a smart marketing move. I don't blame anybody, but it's really funny that, there's a certain period of the year where, look, I was featured on the front of this magazine that can't be bought anywhere. It can only be bought by award winners who send them to their friends and clients. So anyway, it's funny. And I admit we've won some of those awards. So we, in some ways, have been in this category. But
a part of the reason that I wanted to bring this whole idea up is because a lot of people do, I think, see that and then think, oh, well, maybe I need to go and talk to this person. Or maybe you do. But a lot of times that award's being paid for. The thing that we value the most on our team is all the reviews that we get from our clients. Like, that's the piece where it's like, hey, that was a win. Like, we absolutely won that particular transaction with our client because they felt so good about it that they went onto Google or they went onto Zillow or wherever and left us a review. We have over 200 Google reviews, which is by far the most that I've seen when it comes to a real estate team, in and around us.
Yep.
No one's even close to that right now. And so that to me is kind of saying, hey, I know that we're doing the right thing. We're really taking care of our clients. We're not going to go and pay for a piece of paper award, but look what we've got right here that we didn't pay for and we got because people were so happy.
Well, and I always talk about the trophies in our office are those stories, right? We have real estate agents competing with each other to have bigger, better client success stories. I mean, clearly when our clients succeed, our agents get paid, so certainly income is a nice incentive, but really the most trash talking, the most, kind of animated discussions in our office are, I saved my client this much. I got them this deal at this price. And it's a team effort. So I value those reviews and those stories. And really what comes after that is when those people introduce us to other people, right? When they trust us enough to say, this is my buddy from work. I told him he's crazy if he uses anybody except for the Todd Tramonte home selling team to buy or sell a house. And it's so much fun. This week we had an event, an appreciation event for our clients. We had one in Fort Worth and one on the Dallas side where we had ice cream in one, shaved ice in the other, just to say thank you for those things, for clients that have gone out of their way to say, you're not my agent and my friend because of some magazine or some online blog post top 10 list. You guys went out of your way to add value in my life and care for my family. And I've shared that with friends and they felt the same way. And so we have this cycle of relationship.
It was such a great event too. People were so excited to be there. We did everything we could do with social distancing and making sure everyone was safe. And the place where we did the event at were fantastic in making sure that we were, doing all
let's
guidelines.
Shout out to
and all
the
that.
places, right? So in Fort Worth, we did Bahama Bucks because it's the greatest shaved ice on earth. And if you want to argue about that, you'll just be wrong. We can fight. And then in Richardson, we did Sweet Firefly for ice cream, which there's a lot of good shaved ice. I was kidding about that other thing. And there's a lot of good ice cream out there, but Sweet Firefly is so good.
It's my wife's favorite
Sea
cinnamon
salt
ice cream.
Caramel, man.
Oh, she's cinnamon all the way.
So good. So anyway, yeah. But the reason we have an event like that is to say thank you for what we consider the biggest awards and trophies. And that's when we've developed a friendship with a client because we've been able to add value in their life, build trust, and really enjoy that interaction.
Yep.
So the awards are fine. And in some situations, I think they're smart marketing, but it's funny because they're almost always, paid for or, guy celebrating guy, right? It's like, hey, I won, check out what I won, so it's kind of funny. So anyway, when you see those things stroll through your Facebook and Instagram and Twitter feeds, you now know that sometimes they're legit, sometimes they're paid for. But either way, that's fine if that's part of how you evaluate a professional. But hopefully the other parts are, what is their track record? Who do you know that has had a great experience with them? For example, we win an award every year in Texas Monthly, and it's a legitimate award. But then they say, hey, you won the award. Like, you've been nominated by your clients and they're thrilled. Now, you're going to be on a list on like page 137 of our expanded edition, and there's going to be one line. A quarter page ad costs this much. A half page and a full page costs this much. We'd love to put you in front of everybody. I don't blame anybody if that's how they want to broadcast that deal. That's not part of our marketing plan, but if it's a legitimate award, that's fine. There's other awards that are like, hey, we would love to honor you with this award. Would you like to buy it? And then it's that. Yep. So anyway, it's kind of funny. And I've never heard of you guys call it award season. It's hilarious. It's award season on your social media feed.
Award season for real estate.
But anyway, if you are looking for a great real estate agent, and you're looking for someone with hundreds and hundreds of reviews, I would love to introduce you to one of the agent specialists on our team. On the marketing side, we've got incredible, gifted professionals who help sellers sell homes. On the buyer side, we've got incredible, gifted home buyer specialists who all day, every day, all they do is help buyers. On the buyer side, we have an incredible marketing team, sales staff, support staff. We have a raving fan club coordinator. Her job all day long is to make sure that our current clients and past clients have incredible value in their lives, whether they're borrowing the pressure washer and the ladder or the trailer, or they're getting notary done, or they're getting advice and answers on vendors and recommendations for plumbers and electricians and all those things. We would love to be a value add for you. As that goes, we have vendor recommendations for you all over the place. Our insurance recommendation is DP Lambert. You've heard me talk about Patrick for mortgage and Stryker for roofing and Reinhardt for electrical and HVAC. But for insurance, DP Lambert is our go-to guy and has done incredible work for most of our team members and hundreds of our clients. Unbelievably responsive, super, super knowledgeable about what he does, and he can shop your insurance needs to multiple different carriers to make sure that you always have the best deal. DP Lambert, 214-838-5684, or you can always email dp.lambert@goosehead.com.
Another thing that DP can do for you, we've talked a lot about investment properties. My wife and I are actually purchasing an investment property in a different state. So I reached out to DP, and he connected me with the person that he would trust in that state. And so we're now being taken care of by someone that DP knows and trusts, and he's just been a fantastic resource.
And he does all my personal insurance, but he referred me for some commercial insurance, same thing, and that guy was great. So he's not just going to give you a name and a number. He's not just going to treat you like a name and a number. He's an excellent communicator that will take the time to do the right thing for you. dp.lambert@goosehead.com.
And make sure you go over right now to valuethishouse.com, where you can get your home valuation in less than 1 minute. You can see what your home is going to be worth or what it would rent for over at valuethishouse.com. Todd, give us a quick rundown on what are some of the closing costs, some of the expenses that somebody's going to have to put up front when it comes to purchasing a home.
So for the sake of time, your primary closing cost that you will pay at closing, almost always at a title company, right before you get your keys if you're buying a home. If you're getting a mortgage, there's going to be some loan-related fees. I'll just leave those lumped in as loan-related. There's going to be some title insurance that you might pay for, the seller might pay for, but if you're getting a mortgage, you're going to pay for at least part of that. And then there's going to be some smaller things like a deed recording fee and some attorney's fees and things that the title company does, escrow fees for managing the process of that transaction for you. You might have some upfront prorated insurance or prorated taxes. That all is going to depend on the price of the home and the mortgage you're getting or whether you're paying cash. But for most people, that number's not going to be exorbitant. The biggest number will be your down payment if you're borrowing money. If you're paying cash, obviously you'll bring all the cash. If you're borrowing money, you'll bring the down payment. For the sake of time, that's what we got on closing cost. If you haven't checked the value of your home, do it right now from your cell phone at valuethishouse.com. If you'd like to search homes, any house in DFW, at mydfwmls.com. And if we can ever help you buy or sell a home, I guarantee you the results will be excellent. And you can get more information about that at overunderagent.com. Overunderagent.com. We'll talk to you next week. Same time, same place for Texas Real Estate on WBAP.